Yeah, so here's the thing is just that, I was just going to let Noah do like his intro voice, let him kick off the season.
Yeah, I can't do that.
But Noah's not here. But at the same time, we're also like in like a studio. So we could also just like, this could be the intro. It's just us talking beforehand.
Just chatting.
I know.
We could also have him record it, then send it in. But he's quite congested.
Yeah, he's sick. So I don't want to make him talk when he's sick and everything. Yeah, it's a I don't know, double-edged. It's not a double-edged sword, but it's a toss-up. So yeah, but I feel like we're gonna have to then like save his voiceover one, and I didn't prepare. See, on this show, I'm using this as the intro now. This is the intro. On this show, we always have some fun intro prepared, but because Noah dropped out because he's sick, we don't hold it against him. Well,
he's a little ill.
Yeah, I think Jaime doesn't hold it against him. I do, but
sure?
that's besides the point. So this is the intro now. We're in a studio, and we're going to talk about that.
Studio.
Yeah, but first we'll roll the intro. Hello and welcome to 21st Century Cinema. It's the podcast about film and the film industry. I'm one of your hosts, Joseph Delavecchia, and today we are in is this state of the art? Can we call it state of the art?
Yeah, state of the art, for sure. State of the art.
Okay, we're in a state of the art recording booth. Joining me is my co-founder of the podcast, Jaime Crivello. Hi, Jaime. How are you?
Hello, Joe. I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. So this is our first in-person episode in 3 years, 3 seasons.
God.
Since COVID hit, we have not filmed an in-person episode. They've all been digital.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Insanity.
It also means, though, that my editing is so much easier because,
it's all one thing already.
Everyone's sending me all a different thing, and then I have a master because we record over top with a master every single episode. And last episode, that really didn't work out for us.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so it's very interesting that we're sitting across from each other.
Eye contact.
Yes, it's very, very interesting. But we're here a little bit early because Oscar nominations are late this year. They're at the very end of January. And so I thought, hey, season 5, that's right, guys, 5th season.
Season 5.
Right? At this point, we have to be going for 6 seasons in a movie at least.
So true.
Yeah. The TFCC movie, that would be
awesome. The best movie ever made. They need to make a whole other podcast that just talks about that movie.
That then talks about that movie, breaks it down. Every single episode is just like a different frame of the movie that gets broken down. Yeah, no. But yeah, no. So we decided we're gonna do bi-weekly, guys. We're gonna start the year bi-weekly, and I'm sure it will not last whatsoever. Because what do we ever do? Our release schedule
I bet it'll last.
Is so inconsistent. Work. Oh my god.
We'll definitely be consistent. We have lots of free time, us people. Yeah, it'll be so easy peasy. We've got nothing else going on. That's
why we didn't record for 5 months last year,
God.
and nobody communicated, nobody questioned it. We were just yeah, we're busy, we're not gonna worry about it.
Yeah.
That group chat was dead. But yeah, no, so we're here to start off 2022, and we're gonna start it off in a very fun way. No, it's 2023. We're starting
2022.
Jesus, oh my
2023.
gosh. Yeah.
Dear God.
We're starting off 2023 by looking back at 2022. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a fun look back. We're going to talk about the movies that we loved, the movies that we hated, the movies that are controversial, and we're also going to talk about everything in the industry that you might have missed in 2022. A lot has happened, but let's kick it off with some current events. The Golden Globes just happened. I did not watch. Nobody watched.
So true.
The 80th annual Golden Globes happened. Brendan Fraser was not in attendance like he said he was, and the media is acting shocked about that. I don't know if you've seen that. I saw 3 articles today just being here's why Brendan Fraser wasn't at the Golden Globes, and I'm like,
they're just milking him for content. They know his name is trendy.
We know that why Brendan Fraser wasn't at the Golden Globes. We talked about this months ago, Hollywood. But yeah, so
if they listen to our podcast, they would know.
Yeah, they would. They would know. See, all of your Golden Globes news, you got to come to us.
Yeah.
But the Golden Globes were really interesting this year because, I didn't watch because fuck the Hollywood
Because
Foreign
why
Press.
would you watch?
Why would you watch the Golden Globes? I did look at some of the monologues and speeches though after, but from what I can gather from the Twitter reaction is that it was long. Nobody was happy with the length. Everyone felt like it was dragged out, and I got that vibe last night watching the monologue. Because
now it's incredible because it kind of feels like that every year, to be honest. So for people to really emphasize it this year means that it was really, really extreme.
Mm-hmm. But so the host, whose name escapes me, but he was the first black host of the Golden Globes, and his entire monologue was the story about like how and why he took the job, and he made it kind of like a stand-up act. Which, you know, like fine, like definitely we need to bring attention to like the first black host and like why he did it, but he dragged it out for like almost 10 minutes, and he was also just like there was a point where he was sitting on the stage just kind of like talking, like he is sitting on the steps of the stage just talking, and I'm like, this isn't captivating, this isn't
just
like
having a little chat.
Exactly, like the point of the monologue is that it kicks off the entire night. It sets the tone for the evening.
Yeah, you don't want it to drag out because then man, the next few hours are gonna feel like a few hours.
Mm-hmm. But my favorite speech of the night was Eddie Murphy's, because he ended his speech by saying, make sure you pay your taxes. I forget what the second point was. It was pay your taxes, do something else, and keep Will Smith's wife's name out of your fucking mouth. And Will Smith was there. So yeah, that's what Eddie Murphy did that, which was great.
It's giving life advice.
There were a lot of great winners, I felt, also. The movie... Banshee of Inisherin? I don't know how to pronounce it properly.
I don't.
Yeah, but
Irish.
It won Best Drama, and the movie is like getting phenomenal reviews. It's on my list.
It's been on my list, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch it tonight. I'm gonna go watch it, and I never did, but it looks so good.
See,
so
my problem living out in the middle of nowhere recently was the fact that there was no movie theater. So like I'm just behind. So like I've actually in the last week watched like probably close to 10 movies. I've just been catching up. So yeah, but I did watch some other films that are getting a lot of really great press, but also no surprise that Everything Everywhere All at Once had some wins.
Woo.
It did not win Best Comedy though.
Yeah. Wait, what did win?
I'm gonna get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, but however, the main actress and actor, they did win, the husband and wife, which was really, really great. They both give great speeches, and it was just very nice to see.
Much deserved.
So, yeah, so for musical and comedy, it was actually Banshees of Inisherin that won. Best drama went to The Fabelmans, Steven Spielberg's latest film, which I saw. And it is absolutely fantastic.
Maybe you should leave that for when we're talking about our favorites.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. But just like some other things to touch on, Austin Butler did win for actor in drama motion picture for his portrayal of Elvis.
That's a meh. It's a strong meh for me.
That's a strong meh. But I think he played the role well. Like he did play Elvis Presley. I think the problem is the movie itself is very low tier for me. We can't get good musical adaptations, can we?
I like the Elton John one.
Rocketman. I like Rocketman too.
A lot.
Yeah,
Rocketman was good.
I was having this conversation with some other people recently. I was just like, I like Rocketman. They're like, Rocketman sucked, Bohemian Rhapsody was so great. And I'm like,
that's some lore of this podcast. I don't think we're allowed to mention that movie's name.
Oh my gosh, it's just
it needs to be bleeped out.
I can't anymore.
We're not allowed to speak on that movie.
Angela Bassett won Best Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture for her portrayal in Black Panther, which honestly was fantastic.
I did not see Black Panther, but I love her as an actress.
You can skip it. It's so boring and so long, but she is phenomenal.
I bet.
Like she's like the only character that like kind of kept me in it. And spoiler alert, she dies halfway through. So the last half of the movie is hard.
As soon as she dies, everyone just gets up and leaves, and they're like, okay.
Steven Spielberg won Best Director for of a motion picture for The Fabelmans, which honestly well deserved. We're going to get into it, but I believe it's one of his best movies in a long time. And then we also had some other interesting wins. Babylon won for music, which was very, very interesting to me. We're going to talk about Babylon too. But Michelle Yeoh, she won for actress in musical comedy or motion picture. For Everything Ever All at Once, as did Ke Huy Quan, who won for supporting actor for Everything
which
Everywhere
is good
All
to
at
see
Once.
like newer actors and actresses get it, and not just the same people, same boring speeches. It's like, oh, okay, we get it. Like no one else can really get into the, the top level of actresses and actors. We get it. So it's nice to see people that like I don't think have won before, and I don't think have been in any big movies before. I enjoy that.
Babylon won for original scoring. The last one I want to talk about is, Jaime, I'm going to let you guess here. What do you think won Best Animated Film at the Golden Globes this year?
My concept of time is horrible, so I can't quite remember what came out last year. I
can read you the nominees.
Oh, yeah,
if
sure.
You would like.
Give me the nominees, refresh my memory.
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
I love Pinocchio.
Inu-Oh. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And Turning Red.
Okay, I actually have seen some movies from last year. They were just all animated. Man, in my heart, I more than anything would have wanted Pinocchio to win, but it's probably freaking Marcel the Shell with Shoes or whatever it's called. Did that win?
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Yeah, yeah, let's go. That's actually awesome. I love that movie so much. I was like watching it. I was like, oh, it's so cute. It's so pretty. Oh, it's so lovely. Okay, I'm real happy about that. Quite pleased.
And there were 2 Pinocchio adaptations this year, so...
What? There was another Pinocchio?
There was a second one, yeah. There were 2 this year.
Wow. Probably got overshadowed a bit because I did not even hear about it.
Anyways, let's move on. We're going to talk now.
Okay.
About the best and worst films of 2022 and the controversial ones. Now, Jaime, you said you haven't seen a lot of movies this year.
Yeah, because some of them I heard about and people are like, oh yeah, it's bad. I'm like, okay, then I'm not going to see it. Not worth my time.
Yeah, so I've seen 20 movies so far this year, and I've got about 10 more left on my list.
My God.
I've got numbered ratings for all of them. I can tell you why I liked them, why I didn't like them.
Whoa.
But I'll let you go first.
I can tell you about the vibes.
You want to start with the worst or the best?
Maybe the worst.
Okay, the worst. Okay, tell me. Give me like your top 3 worst movies you saw this year.
Well, yeah, my memory also is pretty bad, and like I said, if I hear a movie's gonna be bad, I'm not going to watch it. I did watch Morbius. I did like the part in the movie where he goes, "It's Morbin time," and I mean, I had a pet mouse that I named Morbius after Morbius from the movie Morbius, but from a film. From a critical point of view, it was not a good movie.
I don't want the most common word in this transcript to be Morbius.
Morbius. I'm skewing the data. Yeah, so definitely worst ones was like Morbius because it was just like, man, did they really make this movie? Did they really write these lines, looked at it, and were like, yes, let's do it? And the actors did those performances. They're like, yes, let's do it. Just everything about it. It's like, man, you had a massive budget. You could have had good creatives on there, and you just were like, yep, this looks about right. Let's do it. Yeah, so didn't like that one. Yeah, I don't know if I watched any other bad movies, because if I heard they're bad, I'm not going to see them. Like, it's that simple.
See, I hear something's bad, and I can't wait to go and see it.
That's because you're a hater. That's like in your heart and soul, you are a hater.
I'm not a hater. I just believe that
you enjoy hating, though.
Cinema should be judged.
You enjoy being critical. You enjoy a chance to flex your.
I enjoy being critical.
Yeah, that's called being a hater, Joe.
No.
There were movies that I like watched part of, and I was like, "This is bad. I'm not going to bother watching the rest." I did watch part of Don't Worry, Darling. Yeah, no, I was like, "What is this?" Harry Styles, shit actor.
Yeah, people need to stop casting Harry Styles. Okay, but isn't he dating the director? Is that not
I have no idea, but that would check
casted?
out. I assumed he was just casted because all the Harry Styles fans would flock to the theater, and I'm pretty sure they did.
Well, the bigger fan base, though, I feel like from that movie would have to be, because like at the same time, like I don't think Harry Styles fans are really focusing on like movies. I feel like the bigger fan base, if you're going to aim for that, would be Florence Pugh, especially because she's so like up and coming right now.
I think the thing is, people who aren't going to go to the movies otherwise would be Harry Styles fans. So the people that like her are going anyways. Harry Styles fans are not going to a movie unless Harry Styles is in it. And I'm pretty sure it did pretty well at the box office. And a lot of people saw it.
I don't know if it did.
Whoa. I mean, I think it did pretty well for the quality of movie that it was.
That's that's saying a lot, but it made 86.7 million USD at the box office. And so that's
definitely more than it deserves.
So after its budget, it grossed 45.3 million.
Yeah, like that's That's a significant number there for a movie like that.
What an expensive fucking movie to make, though.
Yeah. Okay, what are your worst of 2022? I might
My worst?
think of more.
Okay. My worst movies. First, I want to talk about Babylon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard you.
This is really interesting because there's been an ongoing debate as to whether or not La La Land is a good movie on this podcast, where I have always said that it is.
Whoa. I think it's a good movie. I just don't think it's as groundbreaking and the best thing ever.
I don't think it was groundbreaking and the best thing ever, but I think it deserved Best Picture over Moonlight.
I think Moonlight deserved Picture. But I still think it's a good movie. I still think it's a great movie. And it's fun. So I never said that La La Land was bad.
Okay, fine. But we do agree Whiplash is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Damien Chazelle very much deserved the Best Directing Oscar when he won it. Youngest person to win it. But then he made Babylon. And Babylon feels like, to me, like they were like, oh, this kid is pretty hot and a director. Here's all the money you want. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, I think whenever the cast looks like what the cast of Babylon looks like, I'm kind of turned off from it immediately. Like I was saying with Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, it's like it's enticing to see new faces. It's like, oh, this is talent. They're good for this role. It's not like you're hiring the top of the top to get people to come, or because you have so much money, you may as well get the most expensive person. Right? The cast is like, who's the cast?
The cast is Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie as your two biggest names.
That's like the top actress, the top actor. Like there's no one that beats either of them. So it's insane to have both of them in a movie. It just immediately turns me off from it. I'm like, no, I'm not really interested. This is just like you're flexing how much money you can spend on a movie. You didn't cast them for their talent. You're just like the biggest names.
But Babylon is about Hollywood. It's about Hollywood in the 20s and 30s, and when silent films made the big change over to talkies. That's the very big thing with Babylon, and it's very interesting. It's an interesting premise, and I thought it was a really great idea. It was my most anticipated movie of this year and last year because it was originally supposed to come out last year and then it got delayed. So I went to go and watch it. Very smart, very excited. Also, I want to point out that Gene Smart and Tobey Maguire are also in this movie. They have smaller roles, but they are the only two good things I will give this movie. Is that Gene Smart and Tobey Maguire give it their all and bring it like they do to everything else, though. What I can also say though is that Babylon doesn't know what it wants to be, what it should be, and it doesn't know what its message is. It's completely unclear. The commentary that it is trying to make is convoluted and poorly executed. The best way I can describe the dialogue is erratic. This film is it's jumping back and forth. There's no consistency whatsoever. The sound mixing was already poor to begin with, which is quite sad because this movie won Best Score. You could have just given a little bit more time to your sound. But the actors mumble through half of their lines. The dialogue makes most of the beats and important moments fall flat because it's trying to capture that ping pong dialogue that is kind of in Gilmore Girls. You know how they're having back and forth, and there's multiple conversations going on at the same time. It tries to capture that, but it doesn't bring the same energy or the same strong writing. It falls completely flat on its face.
I find that can be hit or miss because it can feel inorganic so easily, and then it's like, what's going on here? Versus when it feels organic, it's like, oh my god, this is like incredible. It's like real life. It's like ping pong. It's like back and forth. It's vibrant. Otherwise, it's like this is just too formulated and yeah.
I also want to shout out Noah Shepherd, who gave a very famous quote in
Who?
Noah Shepherd,
who
our other co-host.
Who?
He gave a very famous quote last summer when we were doing an episode, which was, "If you notice the editing, it's probably bad."
That is so true.
And that rule,
so real.
There's no good cut in this movie. It's either too fast and abrupt, or it's too long and the camera lingers, and you're just kind of like, is something gonna happen? Oh nope, we're in the next scene now. Okay. They're noticeable. They are not seamless whatsoever, and Damien's directing style isn't great. It honestly confuses the tone. It doesn't match the quote unquote pacing that this movie doesn't really have.
Yeah, Sir Damien dropped the ball on this one. Because I feel like his style's pretty distinct, which works well for La La Land, which is meant to be it doesn't feel quite real. Like it has that dream kind of like it's a musical. It feels like a musical. And same with Whiplash, it's frenzied like whatever Mr. Whiplash's name is, the main character. You know what I mean? So if you if you try to use his style, I did not see this movie, so I'm just kind of spitballing guessing, that his style could fall flat without it having a purpose, like it did in those two movies, where it's supposed to kind of play into those different. It's supposed to be unconventional in a way.
Well, he makes one final decision in the end on how he ends the movie. And the movie ends with the main character sitting in a movie theater, and it's 25 years later in the 50s. And he's looking up at the screen and he's watching it. And he kind of then suddenly has like this like burst of like cinema, I guess, in his mind. And we see like iconic movie moments from like the 1920s all the way up to 2020. Like there's a clip from Avatar in this. Yeah, in this sequence. And it's like 2 minutes long. It makes absolutely no sense. It's completely out of nowhere. And the only thing that is more baffling than that is how much sex is in this movie, guys. Like, seriously. Like, this movie has, like, freaking nudity or a sex scene in, like, every other scene. But, like, it's never for a good reason.
Yeah.
In the opening scene, there's, like, a whole sequence where they have to get, like, this half-naked girl's dead body out because she was, like, a young girl that OD'd because she was like a paid hooker, I guess. It's so fucked up and so weird.
It's just kind of there to be there. It doesn't serve a purpose.
Yeah, the movie just has a lot of sex.
Wagging
It
my
doesn't
finger.
know what it wants to be or do. Honestly, it's like if you gave a 10th grader fucking a budget to make the movie they wanted, and this is their wet dream. That's what it is. Like, it's...
Yeah,
It's
from now
bad.
on, Damien Chazelle should be limited to like 50 grand for movies.
Damien Chazelle should be limited to someone being on script supervising.
He should
That's
be
what
limited
should
to
have.
pocket change and whatever coins he can find on the ground. And I bet he would make great movies if that was the case.
I know. Damien really, he let me down with this one. I was let down.
You let
know,
Joe down, Damien.
Yeah. You know who's not going to let me down, though,
Who?
this year? Is going to be Denis Villeneuve when Dune Part 2 comes out in November. That's going to be great.
So true.
But another movie I want to talk about, Death on the Nile. Did you see Death on the Nile?
Nope, I did not even really
Okay.
hear much about it.
Yeah, no, nobody really did, because theaters opened up back here after COVID in like February, which is when it came out. And good rule of thumb is if you're not seeing an Oscar movie in January or February, the movie you're going to go and see is bad. It's general
Yeah.
rule of thumb in cinema, you know? But I went to go and see Death on the Nile because I'm a huge whodunit fan. And it's so terrible. It's so obvious what is happening. It is drawn out. The performances, like, this is one of those whodunits who has a fully, like, loaded, star-studded cast. And while I didn't like Glass Onion, which we'll get to, at least the cast there is actually acting for the most part. But no, nobody is acting. Everybody here is just, like, there for the paycheck, and they're making it known. Gal Gadot is a very talented, very popular actress, and she is... You could have gotten a cardboard cutout of her, and you wouldn't have known the difference.
Might.
It's not...
That's kind of brutal.
No, but, like, it's
You'd like
it's
throw a
the
coin on her
truth.
head and it would like clank.
There's this line, and it's pretty... I saw a lot of people make fun of it online, but the line is, like, they're serving, like, the hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and she's like, and we'll have enough champagne to fill the Nile, because they're on a boat on the Nile River. And she's just like, and enough champagne to fill the Nile. And that's it. That's it. It's so stiff and just... It's like... You did not want to be here.
Drop the ball also.
She did. But the last thing I want to talk about for my my worst is going to be White Noise. This is my worst movie of the year. I gave this movie a 0 out of 10.
A 0?
I did. I gave this movie a 0 out of 10. And I think the only way I can properly explain to you why is if I just read you my review verbatim.
Okay, let's
so
go.
here it is. This is Joe's review of White Noise, currently on Netflix if you want to watch it. I can only assume 2022 is the year where good directors jump the shark, because White Noise is an assault on cinema. The director is Noah Baumbach, by the way, who did Marriage Story.
Whoa, I loved Marriage Story though.
Yeah. The dialogue is sloppy, incoherent, and comes across as it was written by a 16-year-old having an existential crisis. The acting is absolutely terrible. Adam Driver and Greta Gerwig are two current personalities in Hollywood who I respect and I believe have a lot of potential. Both of them should be ashamed of this film. There is barely a plot, and what little plot the film does have offers no real feeling or immersion. Each act feels like a different movie that has no resolution. It's just throwing you in the middle of something and then it's over. But those final 10 minutes left me speechless and flabbergasted, with my jaw literally dropped. This moment is literally... The movie ends
Yeah.
with a song and dance sequence in a superstore, an AMP superstore in the 80s.
Oh, that's awesome. You
Don-
didn't like that?
Do you want to see Don Cheadle dancing with a bag of potato chips? It's a white bag
Of
that just
course.
says potato chips on it.
Of course I do, but I don't know if I would want that in a movie. I'd want that as like a funny
Jaime Rabonal, who has come on our show a few times.
Oh yeah, the cinema god.
Yeah. He asked me to like really pay attention to the last minutes. He's like, I just want to know what your reaction to the last 2 minutes of White Noise are.
Doesn't Jaime use they them?
No, he uses
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Jaime asked me though what I should Sorry. Jaime asked me to pay attention to the last 2 minutes because he wanted to know what my reaction was going to be. And so I got my camera out at the very end and I just recorded it. And so I have my genuine reaction to these last minutes, which I will post on our socials.
You look absolutely flabbergasted.
It is. I'll show it to you. But yeah, no. But yeah, my jaw literally dropped. I thought the symbolism and edgy moments in this movie were ridiculous enough already, but nothing could prepare me for the poorly choreographed, meth-driven song and dance number that is the credits.
My God.
I want to admire something in this film, but I can't even find Baumbach's style interesting or powerful. The shots didn't do anything for me. I didn't laugh. I don't give him any credit for what he attempted to do because I still don't get it. But worst of all, this isn't even a bad movie to mock or find some joy out of. It's just bad. Like really, really bad. From 10 minutes in, I was screaming at this film to be over. The best way I can describe it is an acid trip trying to capture the witty ping-pong dialogue of Gilmore Girls, but epically failing and coming across as nothing but white noise.
Wow.
It literally, it does the same thing that Babylon does, where like the dialogue is incoherent.
Also with Babylon in this, like Baumbach and Chazelle both dropped the ball, whereas they had amazing films before. And you said what, Adam Driver and Greta Gerwig were involved in this movie? What the hell? Like, isn't it incredible that these guys that make good movies then get good budgets and make shit movies? Like, please let someone else make a movie. Let's make good movies, not just because of the people who are making them did well before.
There's a line in this movie where they're in the A&P near the beginning.
Lines, yeah.
And Adam Driver and Don Cheadle are walking, and Greta Gerwig. So Greta Gerwig plays Adam Driver's wife, and Don Cheadle is a professor at the university that Adam Driver teaches at. So they see each other at the superstore, and they're walking. He introduces him to his wife, and so she's up ahead. And he's watching his wife from behind, and he turns to him, and he says, "You know, your wife has important hair." What the fuck does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean, Noah Baumbach? What does that fucking mean?
Listen, I love bizarre movies, but this does not sound like over-the-top bizarre. It just sounds bad, like you were saying before.
For the second most bizarre part besides that end credit scene?
Sure.
So in the last scene, before we get to that end credits rolling of the song and dance number, they're in a church hospital run by nuns who do not believe in God.
Okay.
But so they're sitting there and they look up and I saw this painting like in the first like establishing frame, and I did not think they were going to draw attention to it. I did not at all. But I stopped it and I turned to Katie and I showed her and I was like, "Do you see like what that is?" And I pointed it out because I thought we're not going to acknowledge this whatsoever. But then Adam Driver turns and he acknowledges it and points it out. And hanging over their hospital beds in this church is a picture of JFK and Pope John Paul II in heaven together.
Oh, in heaven together. I really said making out there.
Yeah, you said.
That would have been so funny, though.
Yeah, you did.
That would have been so funny. Maybe I should direct movies. And that's all that my movies would be.
That would be set design. Maybe you should do set design.
No. I would remake White Noise, but that's the only change I would make. And I would make the potato bag, the chip of potato. Whoa. The bag of potato chips at the end be like yellow.
For No Name?
Yeah, for No Name.
That's the aesthetic they're going for. But yeah. White Noise, I hated it.
Okay, I like that. So is it a comedy? Or is it just meant to be like a bizarre, like you said, like a 16-year-old like?
No, it's supposed to be a comedy. That's the thing. But like there's no jokes in this.
Yeah, it's just kind of meant to be like slightly yeah.
It's weird. It has 3 distinct acts. Like it literally tells you when you're in the next act because they're chapter titles that come up on the screen.
When movies do that, either they do it really well.
No.
But most of the time, it serves no purpose, and they think they're just gonna be like one of those movies.
Like I said, you're just
get out of here with the
into
title cards.
into different stories. It's so insane. But our friend Noah Shepherd liked White Noise. Noah Shepherd.
Maybe I might like it then if Noah liked it.
I don't think.
And if you're saying it's bizarre, no, I like things that are really bizarre.
Okay, but your sister also really hated it too.
I don't agree with Katie on some things also because she doesn't like bizarre, absurd things.
Okay, watch it because when Noah's back on for Oscars in 2 weeks, we'll talk about it again. So watch White Noise. We're gonna follow up with White Noise, guys. We're gonna follow up.
There'll be a part 2 on White Noise discussion.
There will be. But yeah, let's talk about some good movies. We love good movies. My top 10 movies of this year are honestly kind of insane. And it's not complete. Like I said, I still have like 10 films to watch. So I'm pretty sure the films that you're like, Joe, why isn't that on there? I just haven't seen it yet. And I'm going to see it by our Oscar episode in 2 weeks. And I'll talk about it more then. So I'll have an updated top 10 list then. But out of the 20 movies I've seen this year, here are my top 10 from 10 to 1. And I'll give you scores with them too.
Okay.
Black Adam, 6.5 out of 10. The Bob's Burgers movie, 7 out of 10. The Gray Man, 7 out of 10. Spirited, 7.5 out of 10. See How They Run, 7.5 out of 10. Do Revenge, 8 out of 10. Nope, 8.5 out of 10. The Fablemans, 8.5 out of 10. Everything Everywhere All at Once, 9.5 out of 10. And The Batman, which I infamously gave an 11 out of 10 at the time because I love it so much.
Mid.
It's so good. It's not mid. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a pretty solid list. I haven't seen a lot of those. But yeah, we could talk about like the ones that we have both seen. I saw Batman. I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once.
We've gone into Batman already a good amount on this podcast, but we have not talked about Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's definitely one we should. So, so Jaime, this movie was this is like you said, like liking something that's bizarre. This movie is bizarre.
This movie is absurd.
It breaks like every trope and every convention. It does the unexpected, but it keeps you so entertained, and it's so bizarre and funny, and just it tells this very, very powerful story.
Yeah.
I see you've typed up a review. You never have something prepared.
This is for my other job. This is for a job where we were going to do a staff pick for favorite album, favorite movie of the year, but it never got published. So I do have a review of this movie.
Well, please read it.
It was when I heard it wasn't going to be used, I didn't really edit it. So
That's okay. That's okay. I'm going to see if I can pull up my review.
I wrote this mid-December. Let's see. All right. So Everything Everywhere All at Once is a one-of-a-kind experience. So it's an optimistic, nihilist, absurdist movie, which those are some of my favorite things a movie could be. It's about family, bagels, and it includes a raccoon spoof of Ratatouille. Now, I enjoy raccoons, and I enjoy Ratatouille. And this film honestly is everything, everywhere, all at once. Like, it's funny, it's heart-touching, exhilarating, bizarre, genuine, and honestly unique. Like, I can't think of not just the last time, but if I've ever seen a movie like it. It's more than just a standout film of the year. Like, this is a movie I will be thinking about and talking about for a long time coming. It's one of my favorite movies I've seen in a long, long time, and explores the concept of the multiverse, which honestly is kind of overdone in some movies lately and other media, and usually done bad and poorly. But I think that it does it really, really well, which is really commemorable. And it mixes in themes of family, connection, and love with all the zany and silly scenarios that are occurring throughout the whole film. And it doesn't compromise the masterful writing and the moving messages while having these, hot dog fingers and whatnot. The acting, cinematography, pacing, editing, sound, among everything else, it just works perfectly together. And it does everything to supplement the experience of watching it. It's ambitious in every sense. It's kind of a crazy movie. Absurd, bizarre are the best words to describe it. In my opinion, it pulls it off spectacularly. I feel like it could be a miss when things try to do this much in one movie. But no, it's a splendid, absurd trip. And if you're anything like me, this movie will have you laughing and crying and thinking about it for a long time after leaving the theater.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. This was the year that Marvel announced their multiverse saga. They overdid it.
Get out here,
so many people have been overusing the multiverse, and this keeps it fresh and new. And it is, honestly, this is the best use of the multiverse I've ever seen in media. I think definitely in movies, but probably most likely in media too. It's so well done.
In recent memory, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is my review from April 17th.
Whoa.
Okay.
Original.
Everything Everywhere All at Once is a beautiful coming-of-age story and a wicked sci-fi and a hilarious comedy with elements of satire. Now, I know what you're thinking. That can't possibly work. And I would be right there with you. But this movie does. It pushes the envelope, becomes its own thing, goes into unexpected territory, and even goes off the walls batshit crazy at some points. But in the end, it tells a beautiful and powerful story surrounding a realistic and captivating family. Some scenes are a little drawn out, and the movie can be a tad shorter, but it's a lot of fun, filled with great moments of love, laughter, action, and heart. The directing style is awesome, and it really is one of the best films I've seen in the last year. I don't know if I'd say this is the film of the year, it's definitely too early, but don't sleep on this film. Seriously, go see it, but also know what you're getting into.
People that hate on this film are so lame. Like, when people hate on it, they're like, oh, there's too much going on, blah, blah, blah. So you're telling me you want to be bored? You're telling me you don't appreciate this vibrant, concentrated expression of love and family? Get lost,
some
loser.
people just want to see something happening in the sky and superheroes battling around it, because that's entertainment to these
I think the people that hate on this movie are more the people that want to see a shot of someone drinking coffee with a slow zoom that lasts 15 minutes with background sound that's like...
Every diehard My Dinner with Andre fan hated this movie.
Yeah. I feel like that encompasses everything I could think to say about this movie. Because we've talked about it before, kind of.
We've touched on it a little bit, but the next thing I want to talk about is one that I said I talked about at the beginning, which is The Fabelmans.
I did not see or even hear much about it.
This is Steven Spielberg's best movie in 30 years.
Whoa, I can't say I've ever really enjoyed a Steven Spielberg movie that much.
Okay, no, but this is his best movie is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that much to me because
Okay.
it's not like it's beating out anything great in my eyes.
Okay, take it from this then. I was talking to Jaime about it. He's a huge Spielberg fan.
Yes.
And he 100% agrees with me.
Okay, word.
So
I respect his opinion.
So this is not just a Joe opinion, guys. This is
If it's a Jamie Rabanel,
Rabanel.
If it's a Jamie Rabanel opinion, it's a good opinion.
Yeah, no. It's a very good opinion. But yeah, no. So The Fabelmans is this awesome coming of age story. It's a coming of age story about film.
Oh, of course you guys would like it then.
It's
of
so
course.
great. Okay, it's loosely based on Steven Spielberg's upbringing and how he got into film. Not all. It's very inaccurate, and he admits that. Look, someone made something based on true events and admitted it's very inaccurate. It's not fucking hard, Hollywood. Just say it. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But there's one moment that is actually 100% real, which I'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, it's this great coming of age film. The characters, everyone there is giving an amazing performance. Paul Dano is the dad.
Okay.
He's so great.
Okay.
Everyone brings these characters are funny, they're wacky, they all work well, and they play off each other so well. It tells this realistic, heartbreaking yet inspiring story. This movie is really, really good. It is a tad long, and I will say that there are a few story beats, and I mean 2, maybe 3, where I was just that didn't really land for me. But it was so great. I really, really enjoyed this film, and I recommend everyone see it this year. Now, the movie that is entirely true on Steven Spielberg's life is when the main character, the young kid who is supposed to be Steven Spielberg, he goes in to interview at I believe it's CW. He goes in to interview there for a possible position. And he's talking and everything, and the guy who's interviewing him is walking, and he's like, "How would you like to meet the greatest director?" And he's like, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, let me see." So he runs across the hall, and then he takes him into the room, and he's like, "Okay, just sit here and wait for him." And so the receptionist says he's out to lunch right now, and the kid goes, "Oh no, it's okay, I'll wait." And she's like, "It could be hours." He's like, "No, it's okay." And so he's looking around the office, and he realizes it's John Ford's office. For those that don't know, John Ford is a very famous director from the, I believe, 60s, 70s, and probably a little bit of the 50s, too. I don't know the exact years of his movies, but he did a lot of your very popular Westerns. He did a lot of those. But so John Ford, though, fantastic director. And so what I'm expecting while I'm watching this is that you might see, a body walk by, but it's going to be off screen, you know? But John Ford walks in, and you see him. And Steven Spielberg got director David Lynch to play John Ford.
What? I did not know that.
Yes. So he goes in and he's talking to John Ford. And John Ford is just so he's like, "You want to be a director?" And the kid doesn't know what to say. You know, he's starstruck and everything. And so he says to him, he's like, "Go over to that painting over there." And he's like, "Tell me what you see." And so he's trying to describe it and everything. And he's like, "Oh, the story." He could tell. He's like, No. Where's the horizon? And the kid stops, and he's like, it's at the top. And he's like, "Okay, go to that painting." So he walks across the room. He's like, "What do you see?" And he's starts describing this ship scene. And he's like, No, where's the horizon? He's like, "At the bottom." And John Ford goes, If the horizon's at the top, it's interesting. If the horizon's at the bottom, it's interesting. If it's in the middle, it's fucking boring. Now get the fuck out of my office.
Whoa.
And that actually happened to Steven Spielberg. So so then it goes into the last shot of the film, which is the kid coming out, like big smile on his face. He's leaving and he's walking off the lot, and the camera's centered and it does a quick jerk to make the horizon at the top of the frame, and that's how it ends. And it's so well done, and just a great moment. But also, like, the guy like comes into the frame, and I'm like, is that fucking David Lynch? David fucking Lynch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an amazing moment. So yeah, big shout out to the Fabelmans. Go watch it.
Yeah. There were a few movies I liked this year that I have quickly reminded myself came out this year. When you mentioned like the animated movies, I think I saw all of those and I enjoyed most of them. I love Turning Red. I love Turning Red so much. I loved Pinocchio so much.
This is one of the first years where I don't think I've seen any of the animated films.
What? This is probably the most I've seen. And what were the other ones? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think I still have them up here. Give me one quick sec.
Yeah. I did not see Marcel the Shell with... Yeah, no. That looks so silly.
I didn't see any of these this year.
Not my kind of silly.
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Yeah. Inu-Oh, which I've never heard of.
I didn't hear that.
Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which apparently people are saying is great.
It's amazing.
And Turning Red. Yeah,
yeah.
I have not seen any of the animated movies this year, which is very unlike me.
I haven't seen Puss in Boots, but I've seen like enough clips on YouTube and TikTok and whatnot to get the gist of it. And I think I'm going to like it. I'm going to go and actively search out Puss in Boots and watch it.
I have seen the animation style, and I think it looks great.
Me too.
It's very
nice. Other movies that I watched this year, I didn't realize that both X and Pearl came out this year. Like, that's quite something for a movie to come out this year, and then they quickly shoot and release the prequel in the same year. Did you see either movie?
No, but it could be possible they shot them like in continuation. No,
I know that they after X came out, they're like, we want to do a prequel. Mia Goth, can you do a prequel? She goes, yeah. And they shoot it.
That's interesting.
And I thought X came out like a year or two ago. Did you see either one? Or
No. I didn't even hear about X. I just knew about Pearl.
Yeah. Pearl's the prequel, but I like Pearl better, but I like both of them a lot. And Mia Goth has now become like one of the biggest names just from these two movies, I think. Like, she was in a few other movies, but nothing that made her such a well-known name that she is now. And, yeah, I mean, we already talked about the other movies, I think, that I saw and enjoyed. Were there any movies that are still on your list that you're expecting to be one of your favorites? Yeah.
Yes. So the next one that I'm watching is going to be The Menu, which I'm expecting to like.
Oh, yeah, I've seen a lot about that.
We're going to see The Whale, which I'm expecting to love. Yes, I'm expecting to love that. Banshees of Inisherin. I'm pretty sure I've said it a different way every single time. I'm very cautious about. I don't.
It looks great to me.
It looks. I don't know. It looks bland to me, but I'm going in expecting the unexpected. I really am.
What about Tar? Is that how you say it? Kate Blanchett. It looks so freaking good. I'm excited for that.
That one I actually don't want to see. I don't have interest.
That's like the only one that I'm for sure I'm gonna seek out.
Women Talking. No.
I'm just laughing at the name of this movie.
Oh no, Women Talking. Looks very, very good.
Yeah, I think I've heard good things about it, but just the name of the movie is so funny. I imagine it's actually just like you just hear women talking about whatever, just like small talk. That's it. Yeah.
This is why you don't write movies.
Well, I wouldn't write that movie. I wouldn't name a movie that, first of all.
All right. Do you have any other films you want to talk about for this year?
I feel like that's pretty all-encompassing, and I'm sure once I see more, they'll come up if they're good enough, they'll come up in conversation at another time.
Okay.
Well, did you see the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special?
I did see the Guardians of the Galaxy
that.
holiday
That was
special.
fun.
That was one of the better things Marvel put out this year, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. All right, let's move on then. We're going to talk now, guys, about the industry in 2022. The industry was filled with a lot of fucking drama this year.
Drama.
AMC theaters filed for bankruptcy.
Right, we spoke about that.
They got bailed out, and they're now trying to restructure to make money. One of their ways is that they have now partnered with Zoom, so you can do virtual meetings in a movie theater with your company. That's one of their initiatives.
Man, they're desperate, eh?
AMC is so fucking desperate. They're thirsty. Let's be real, guys.
They're thirsty. So true.
That started off at the beginning of the year. But there was a lot of interesting acquisitions this year. The one you've probably heard the most about is the Discovery and Warner Brothers acquisition. Discovery, it's behind the Discovery Channel, Discovery Network, and other things such as HGTV, bought out Warner Brothers and has absorbed them completely now. So it's now Discovery Warner Brothers Discovery Warner Brothers, one of the two.
Yeah.
It's that now. So because of this restructuring, there was a bit of a power vacuum at Warner Brothers in general, where there weren't really any executives or people to make decisions, and that's how the whole Henry Cavill thing happened, and then James Gunn got appointed to DC Studios, which we talked about last month. But Warner Brothers did another very big surprising thing, which is they killed so many projects in active development.
Yeah, they just like shot all the projects in the head.
Yeah. If something was in active development or even pre-production, it got shut down most likely. Lots of beloved shows on HBO Max were canceled. And they were mainly done for tax write-offs because Warner Brothers is not in a good place. They're in like bad situation like Netflix. And so they are like, of course, trying to make money. And now I think they said they're going to write off something like $2 billion in tax write-offs or something. Like it's absolutely nuts. I forget what the exact number was, but it was a nuts number that they're doing in tax write-offs. But this caused, of course, a lot of fan outrage everywhere. One move was that the Batgirl movie had just finished filming. It was in post-production, supposed to release in December. Brendan Fraser was playing the villain, which was interesting. And it got completely killed. A $90 million movie that was in the last stage of production got killed.
That's silly. That's tragic.
That's ridiculous.
I have a single tear going down my face right now.
There's a lot of different theories about why they did it. And I believe that it was A, tax write-off, and B, the fact that you have now new people coming in. So how do you want this to look? Do you want it to look like they came into something brand new and the thing that they had no hand in does really, really well and now there's disbelief on them? Or they let something terrible go through and now that's released and that's the first thing on their record. So I think that's also a very plausible reason as to why, Batgirl was definitely more of a risky one. There was a lot of division about it online already to begin with. So that's why I think in the end it got the axe. But yeah, lots of things received the exact same treatment. Warner Brothers has confirmed as of last week that they are done axing content for now. That the big purge is over. But The Boys, which is a fantastic show on Amazon, The Boys likes to do a lot of parodies and satire on real life.
Yes.
And so they have their own like parody of Disney Plus called VOT Plus.
Yeah.
And they did like a whole announcement of projects they were canceling and tax writing off, and it was funny. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The next thing I want to talk about in the industry, Disney versus the rainbow is what I've called this.
Yeah.
So earlier this year, Florida introduced what has been called the Don't Say Gay bill, which is essentially banning instruction on gender identity and sexual orientation in kindergarten through third grade classes. Now, we're not going to get political on this show, but on March 7th, Bob Chapek, who was the current CEO of Disney, released a statement that Disney stood by its LGBTQ plus employees, but they would not be taking a public stance on the bill itself like many others were. Now, because of this, there was a lot of outrage, and there was a walkout of Disney employees on March 22nd. On March 28th, Chapek did an about face saying that the company would try to get the law repealed and was now going to be taking a stance. Furthermore, Chapek had reinstated a LGBTQ scene into the movie Lightyear, which he had originally said it should be taken out, and he also approved the release of Strange World, which they were thinking of canceling because of major gay characters and storylines.
Man, canceling a whole movie.
House of Mouse.
Can't handle a bit of gay representation.
Now,
it's nuts.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis used this to call a special session in the Florida legislature to repeal the Reedy Creek Improvement District. Do you know what the Reedy Creek Improvement District is?
I do not. Please enlighten me.
It is a 1967 law that allowed Disney to control the land around Walt Disney World as a de facto county government.
Man, 1967.
Letting Disney have their own little fucking government.
Letting them be like Vatican too. I feel like that's essentially what that area is like. It's just like a Vatican.
For some people, it is essentially their religion. Yeah. On April 22nd, DeSantis insisted that removing the district would force Disney to pay higher taxes, despite evidence to the contrary that it may now make state taxpayers responsible for millions of dollars in bonds on the property.
Man.
Now, Disney has attempted to appeal this. So pending the appeal, the improvement district, if Disney appeal fails, the improvement district will no longer exist as of June 2023. And that's currently where the issue stands.
Wow. Interesting. I didn't know about that.
Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting. But this also was not a good face for Bob Chapek, obviously. And so because of that, he was outed as CEO of Disney. Guy had a crappy run, okay? But he's gone. Now, there needs to, of course, be somebody in to fill that vacuum. So to finish out his tenure, Bob Iger, the previous CEO, has returned and re-stepped back up to the position, and he's going to hold it until 2024 when a new
now, I actually just learned about Bob Iger today.
What today made you just learn about Bob Iger?
Well, my friend was telling me about it because I was showing him this, and he's like, "Ooh, Bob Iger. Do you know Bob Iger?" I was like, "Not really." So Bob Iger was friends with Bill Gates. Not Bill Gates. No, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, right? And at the time, there was the idea that Apple might buy Disney. Do you recall? Do you know of this?
Yeah.
Do you think that's do you think there's going to be more Apple and Disney?
There are so many. There are still talks about.
Yeah.
Like, people are still in the industry always talking about Apple making a bid for a big production company because Apple launched Apple TV Plus, and they have made actually some like quality content over on there.
And man, are they a rich company?
They are a very rich company. So it's very interesting that Apple could definitely make a power move. Apple was also trying to make a car at one point. I don't know if the project is still active, but they were doing that.
That's funny to me. I don't know why. I don't want to drive an Apple car. God.
But yeah,
you use a special kind of gas. You can't use the general.
It would be a Tesla. It would be a Tesla,
but more annoying.
I don't know. They both probably be equally annoying. But
that's true.
Yeah, no. So yeah, there's still always been talk about it too. I don't think Disney would sell any of their properties. Also, like, unless they were forced to, which I feel like the government, Disney, I think is in a place where they can't buy anything anymore. Like, they own too much of the market.
Yeah.
It has been, I believe this year was the 7th consecutive year that Disney was the biggest studio at the box office.
Yeah, I think it'll keep being that way for quite some time.
Yeah. In other news, though, Amazon acquired MGM Studios and is now doing a lot of work there and is even considering making a James Bond TV show. You probably didn't hear about this. Do you know why?
Why?
Because it wasn't as fucking dramatic as Warner Brothers and Discovery.
Yeah, they just kind of did it?
Yeah, they just did it and it was normal. So yeah, so in case you missed it.
Good for not being a drama queen. Kudos.
VFX artists, though, did not have a good year.
Yeah.
A light has been shown onto the terrible time constraints the VFX artists faced and the abuse they honestly take in the industry.
They were all held at gunpoint during Avatar 2.
There is a reason why you may have noticed a big dip in VFX quality lately in movies.
It's so bad now. And it's so noticeable.
It's because VFX has evolved to this new level that takes more time and effort, and they're not given that proper time.
Yeah, they still have the same time constraints they had before all this new technology, and now they expect almost everything to be VFX.
And VFX workers are not unionized, so they don't get the same rights as screenwriters and actors and directors do.
We need to go back to practical effects.
Honestly,
for everything.
There are a lot of movies that utilized practical effects this year, including The Batman, which honestly, practical effects is the way to go sometimes. Like, there's so much you can do with practical effects. Oppenheimer, that's coming out this year. Christopher Nolan said that he created the atom bomb explosion with practical effects.
He actually set off an atom bomb. Yeah, that's real. He did set one off. There's a little bit of some casualties, but like, what can you do? It's film.
It's for the movie.
Yeah, the most notable VFX is like probably Marvel movies, just because they pump them out so quick. They aren't so concerned with them being absolutely perfect, and they can't wait so long. But everything is VFX. Everything is VFX. It's so bad. Like, I saw Avatar 2, and there was like 3 different Marvel movies in the previews. And every single one, I'm looking at it, and it's like, it's entirely green screen. Even their suits are VFX. Like, everything is CGI. I'm looking at it, I'm like, this looks so bad. This looks like 10 years old, but worse. Like, it just looks so bad. Like, they've overdone it without having the capabilities to properly pull it off.
What I think is really cool now for effects, and it's what they use on most of the new Star Wars shows, live action ones, and it's what they are also used to film the new Ant-Man movie, is
that's the VFX I saw in the previews. They did not look good. They looked pretty shit to me.
But you've seen The Mandalorian.
Yeah, the Mandalorian looks great, but I mean,
So-
how much of that is VFX?
I'm going to explain to you what this is, what I'm talking about. The backgrounds in that. So they go on a stage, and it's thousands of LEDs that make up the background.
Whoa.
So those backgrounds that you see are like hyper-realistic backgrounds being generated by LEDs in like real time that they're shooting in front of.
Man, why don't they just do a big painting? I miss when that was what you would do. Like, you know, like Wizard of Oz. Like, I like the paintings in the background. I love that.
So much of the original 3 Star Wars films is glass paintings.
Yeah. And they look great. I love that aesthetic. LED screens, that's insane.
The scene in episode 6 when Palpatine arrives on the second Death Star and he and Vader are walking down the aisle of all those stormtroopers, and it's just like stormtroopers galore all the way down as the eye can see. But it's glass painting.
Yeah, the Star Wars movies, like, what years did the first 3, but really episode 4, 5, and 6 come out?
It was late 70s.
Yeah.
It was 70s and 80s. They were around that.
Now, they have like some of the best visual effects like ever. Just nothing had to change from that. We could have just kept with that. Like, they had it with the miniatures and like everything. It was just so good.
Yeah, no, there's still a lot you can do with VFX. I mean, with practical effects, but everybody just goes to VFX now. Now, Marvel is one of the worst, as we were saying, for the VFX problems.
For looking bad.
So because of this, Marvel has now moved their VFX in-house. Most VFX artists, you know, it's not in-house. It's contracted out. Marvel has now created their own little VFX team and, I guess, like their own VFX team now in Marvel Studios.
Yeah, there's a dark room in the basement that they're locked inside.
And so they have reportedly been starting to make the working conditions better. Time will tell, and we'll see how that actually goes. But what's very interesting to me about this, just about all this, is that Marvel Studios is notorious for like keeping things secret and trying to do big things and not saying anything. Like this whole entire like keep things secret and don't say anything about what's happening and like kind of like using like fake marketing for your movie. Marvel started that over the last 2 years. So how the fuck have you not been using in-house for your VFX?
Yeah.
Like, this is why Marvel Studio spoilers exists on Reddit and why they leak so much stuff beforehand, because you treat your workers like shit, and you're not.
And they're not even your workers.
They're not even your workers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The last industry thing we're going to talk about.
Oh God, Netflix.
Netflix had a hard year. You guys remember when we had that whole episode where I was like, Netflix is going to be in trouble, guys, throughout the 20s. And then Netflix had like this big stride at the beginning of the pandemic, and it was like, Netflix's problems are over. They're in the plus now. They're great. And we had a follow up, and I was like, I guess I was wrong. Netflix is back in that very, very crappy position.
Netflix.
Their stocks are at all-time lows. They have lost a lot of money. And because of the unpredictable industry shakeups with streaming now, streaming has very much changed. Netflix is no longer the leader in it. Netflix has had to cancel a lot of projects, cut back on budgets.
Man, I have such beef with Netflix and their cancellations.
But I think most of all, Netflix is now offering a cheaper subscription tier with ads.
At this point, like,
there are rumors, now it's not out yet, so we don't know 100%, but there are rumors that it won't even contain all of Netflix's content too. It's going to be like Netflix Lite.
At this point, like, streaming is the same as cable, which defeats the entire purpose.
We knew this was going to happen. We've been talking about this in season 1. We've been talking about this for 4 years. How
we predicted the future.
We have in season 1. We have an episode about streaming, and we talk about it. And I say in that episode, it's going to just become cable. That's all it's going to be. And in the end, you're going to be paying for a bunch of streaming services that cost you as much as your cable bill that you cancel.
And now you have the ads as well.
And that's what has happened, guys.
That's nuts with the ads.
That's what has happened. We are here, and streaming is becoming like cable. So now the question is, what's going to replace streaming? Because something will.
We're going to go back to those Blockbuster vending machines. Or Netflix vending machines, actually. That's what Netflix was a vending machine, right?
But they had to cancel their Blockbuster show. So
okay, sure, they did cancel the show about Blockbuster. They canceled, my real beef is that they canceled Midnight Gospel. Oh, it was so good. And just recently they canceled The Inside Job, which is also so good. What I don't understand is why they're canceling these things that are good. Like, really good, have a good fan base, would draw people in, yet they're on like the 8th season of whatever that Big Mouth or whatever that show's called. I hate that show. I don't know a single person that watches that show. No way someone sits down, goes on Netflix and types in the search bar Big Mouth and watches it. It's so bad. It's ugly. It's weird. Why are you, like, it's just, cancel that show.
Also,
if you're going to cancel anything,
that voice
cancel that
cast
show.
gets like bigger and bigger every year. It's Nick Kroll and John Mulaney. Like,
I don't like Nick Kroll, to be honest.
But their names are getting bigger. You can't tell me that their contracts are getting cheaper.
Yeah. Cancel that and they could probably keep like a dozen shows that they had to cancel. Like,
well, they're definitely saving money now that they're paying Liam Hemsworth to be the Witcher and not Henry Cavill. There's definitely a pay change there, that's for sure. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's absolutely insane.
Netflix.
And some of the content they've been putting out lately just isn't
so bad.
good.
It's so bad, but they have stuff that is good and draws fans in.
I loved Umbrella Academy. I thought it was a great adaptation.
Yeah.
The third season, god awful.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah, I concur.
I don't know. I don't know when Netflix is going to go under. And even if they did start to go under, I'm sure someone would be bailing them out.
I'm throwing rocks at them when they go. I'm going to start throwing tomatoes. I don't know at who. I guess
Rotten
at my
tomatoes?
Rotten. Yeah, at my computer screen, I guess.
But yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen exactly with Netflix, but I know it's not going to be good. I know Netflix is definitely not going to be the same as it once was ever again, and I think it's going to be very different in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
But I am very interested to see what's going to happen with streaming, because now that streaming has become what it is, it's going to be very interesting to see how people adjust and the content that now starts to get created.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that wraps up our 2022 retrospective.
Ooh, 2022 in retrospect.
What a year.
What a year. That's nuts.
Now, I mentioned at the beginning of this episode that we're in a studio, and that's because we're in a studio. I wouldn't lie about that. But as we've shouted out a few times now on the show, Jaime hosts a radio show on Monday nights.
Yes.
And it's called Toon Lovebot.
Yes.
Everybody should check it out. I learned yesterday that apparently there's a whole shtick to it, too. So, like, you know, go be a part of the lore. Everybody loves some good lore.
Yeah, some deep lore there.
Yeah. But because of that, we were able to use one of the recording rooms to record an in-person episode of TFCC, the first in-person episode in 3 years.
Nuts.
A great way to kick off season 5. Honestly.
I think so as well.
A great way to kick off season 5. And yeah, thank you guys for being here. Whether you've been listening since just last year, whether you've been listening since our first Oscars episode, we've entered our 5th year. So thank you guys for still listening, because if no one was listening, I probably wouldn't still be making this show. So thank you guys so much. Your support is always appreciated. And before we shout out the podcast, Jaime, why don't you, anything else you got going on besides Toon Lovebot you want to talk about?
I mean, yeah, so Toon Lovebot, you can find that on cfmu.ca. And besides that, the usual suspects when I shout myself out that I'm still playing music around Toronto and the GTA. When is this episode coming out?
I'm
Ballpark?
hoping Ballpark is that... One sec, I need to look at my calendar. Guys, I'm so busy. Like, I keep a calendar now of
busy
things.
Man.
Yeah, like, my life is actually, like,
you just started
out
keeping a calendar? Oh, it is structured now.
in time blocks. Like, everything, though. Like, everything. I've got, like, my personal calendar, my work calendar now, like, merged.
You've scheduled when you go pee, even.
I kind of have to. If you look at, like,
you
my
have
work
meetings
schedule,
and stuff,
I have, like, 2 15-minute breaks a day sometimes. That's just how busy I get with stuff. And I'm like... That's when I'll eat and go to the bathroom. This should be out by January 20th, hopefully a little bit earlier, because we're going to aim for a very quick turnaround on that Oscar episode.
Well, I'm playing a show January 21st.
Okay.
At Supermarket in Toronto. If you're interested in the details with that, it'll be on my Instagram and also Julia Maj's Instagram. So I'll give my Instagram a shout out. It's Curvello02.
And if you go there expecting to see 21st century cinema content, you won't see it.
It's because it's underground. It's like niche.
Yeah.
Can't go mainstream.
Yeah.
It'll wreck
Jaime
us.
hasn't promoted our show in over a year.
Come on. It's been longer than a year for sure. Sure.
That's why I said in over a year.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
It's a secret.
Yeah. As though for me, I am actually wrapping up my stint with Capcan Comics. That is going to be coming to an end this February as social media manager. Been a fun ride, but changing on to different things. I am currently working in marketing, doing lots of really great and fun things there, and actually working on a project that's going to be happening in 2023 that I can't talk about right now. But it's going to be something pretty cool that I can't wait to shout out and can't wait to tell you guys all to check out. So stay tuned about that. So I can't really talk about too much about what I'm doing. But I can tell you that you can always follow me on Instagram at the one and only JDV with underscores in between.
The one and only.
The one and only. And you can also find me on Twitter at the one and only JDV. And I was tweeting today, and this is the last thing I want to talk about.
Your tweets.
Well, my tweets are great. They're gold, honestly. Like, not enough people appreciate my Twitter. You're going to get me on a rant now about my Twitter. Not enough people appreciate my Twitter, guys. It's actually hilarious, okay?
You have to check out his Twitter. He thinks he is the funniest person ever.
I'm very funny on Twitter, and not enough people are there, like, you know, like, not enough people are there appreciating it.
Yeah, you have to follow Joe's Twitter and like and retweet all of his tweets, or else we'll find you.
There's a lot of Watchmen content on there.
Maybe I should get on this Twitter thing.
You should get on Twitter.
I have a lot of things to say.
I also live tweet the Oscars every year, and I will be live tweeting them again this year in March. But that's besides the point. But yeah, you can check me out there, voicing my lovely opinions, or you can just keep coming back to the show every single month. Oh wait, James Cameron. That's what I wanted to talk about.
Whoa.
Let's
Whoa. James Cameron.
James Cameron gave an interview. I believe it was yesterday or the day before, and he said that he wants more people going to theaters to see movies because that's what movies are meant to be seen. And I agree with him. I rarely agree with James Cameron about things because I don't really like his films, but I agree with him on this, that we should still be going to the theater. I'm a big believer in the theater, and I've been fighting to keep theaters alive since we started this show. Also, one of the reasons why I started the show was to try and hopefully get people to go to the movies again. But then he said, his reasoning, though, he gave was so bad, James Cameron. His reasoning was, we have to, streaming has to stop. I'm tired of sitting on my ass. James Cameron, what fucking standing theater? What fucking gym are you working out at that's also a movie theater?
He goes to the movie theater and does jumping jacks the whole 2.5 hours.
It's
he runs on the spot.
Like how standing desks were a big thing for working a few years ago. It's now standing movie theaters. Like everyone's just kind of there, like it's a concert or something.
If I walked into a theater and it was a standing theater, I would be so pissed. I don't even know what I'd do with myself.
I know. You know who else would be pissed? Your dad.
My dad? Why? Yeah. Does my dad hate standing?
He just sits at every concert I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Like seriously, like James Cameron, what fucking theater are you at where you're not sitting?
Yeah.
Like here,
weird remark to make.
I can stand right now. Like I am now standing, recording this podcast.
Yeah, but why would you want to?
Why would I want to? When I had this, actually, that chair is not really comfortable. But I've been sitting in. This actually kind of feels good. I'm not gonna lie.
But movie theater chairs are usually comfortable.
Yeah,
now they've got like recliners.
Lots of them are recliners now. Those IMAX ones are so comfortable. If you go to the ones for like the VIP theaters or the landmark laser things, they're heated.
Lasers.
And they're like power.
Yeah, James Cameron would rather stand up and block the view of the people behind him.
Yeah, he would. So yeah, James Cameron, I agree with you, but you didn't make your point well, buddy. You did not make your point. But yes, supporting the podcast. If you'd like to support the podcast, we are on patreon.com/TFCC. You can also support us by...
It's only $10,000 a month.
You can also support us by checking us out on our socials. We're on Instagram at 21st Century Cinema. We're on Twitter at TFCC Podcast. And you can find us using both of those names on Facebook. If you also want to support the show, but you only want to do it like once, you can check out our merch, guys. Shut Up Joe is still selling super well. It's still our best selling thing. I don't know why, but
Shut Up Joe.
Yep, everyone loves and wants it. But also you may notice that with season 5 we've launched a new logo designed for us by the beautiful Noah Schaefer. It's lovely. We had a lot of fun getting to comment on the logo. He made us so many great designs, and we loved this one. We enjoyed the color. We're going with a new color scheme. We're not black and white anymore.
Yeah, we're getting some color in there.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. But our new merch is also... our new logo is also available on our merch. So go on out there, support the show, get some of that new merch. I'm going to get some too. We're going to be rocking it. And hopefully we'll have the opportunity to do more in-person episodes this year. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm also planning on heading out to Newfoundland this summer, so maybe even get an in-person episode with Noah. Be absolutely nuts.
I'll show up too. I'll just walk there. But I'll like run really fast.
To Newfoundland?
Yeah. I'll do a little bit of swimming.
Okay, Terry Fox.
I'll get there.
But yes, please, though, do come back in 2 weeks, maybe less for whenever this episode does come out. We're going to be talking about the Oscars, guys. Oscar nominations are coming out, and they're going to be... I think they're going to be very interesting to see this year. We're going to have a lot of fun breaking them down like we always do, and we're going to talk about White Noise in more depth. So Jamie's going to watch it. Noah and I have already watched it. We're going to really dig into this movie. And I'm, of course, going to be on the opposing side. Noah's going to be on the pro side. So I'm really interested to see what side Jamie's going to land on, what team you're going to take.
Probably not yours.
Maybe one day. You did take my team in the season finale for season 4. that plot holes are a problem with movies.
Yeah, it's kind of silly to say they're not. That's kind of like what they are. It's like puts a hole in the plot by definition.
I will give Noah Shepherd credit though. He did call me out very well when he said Joe thinks every movie is supposed to be made for him when it's obviously not. And I was like, yeah, no, that's true. It's
you love to be a hater.
It is painfully true that like I watch a movie and like I'll go watch like a kid's movie. But what's funny though is like Frozen was obviously not made for me, and I love Frozen.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Yeah, that's odd. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. As always, subscribe, listen to the podcast, rate us, and we will see you guys. Well, yeah, we are on YouTube, which video episodes are back in 2 weeks when we do the Oscars.
Okay.
Video episodes are back. That's another big thing. Video episodes are back.
Video episodes.
Now that we all have better stable Wi-Fi connections, videos are back.
All right.
We'll see you guys then. Take care.
Okay.